Bob's Breakfast.
It's an all-winner show. I'd like to know what you've won. Debbie.
I took my pony into a little competition and we won pony that most looks like its owner, which is lovely, but my pony's small, fat, hairy with a big bum.
Young people have never had it so bad.
They're saying people under 34 have suffered the biggest slide in income and employment compared with older groups.
What annoys me about these reports is they give people an excuse to give up. And that is an awful thing to happen. So let me just say this to anybody under the age of 34. It's what you make it. There will be obstacles and it won't be easy. But it's not supposed to be easy. You only feel good about yourself if you achieve something that's difficult to achieve. There's a series of books I read years ago, great books. They're called Chicken Soup for the Soul. There's a story in one of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books about a bloke who sees a chrysalis. And he watches it and he thinks, one day, a butterfly is going to come out of that chrysalis. And every day he checks it and he looks at it and then one day, he sees a little hole appear in the chrysalis. And he sees the butterfly working its way out. And it's working its way out, and it's breaking through the shell of the chrysalis, and it's working its way out. And then, after a while of working, it stops. And it looks to the man like it's given up. It's not moving. Now, he's been kind of attached to this thing. He's been watching it for a while. So he takes his penknife and he cuts away a little bit more of the chrysalis and he lets it come out. But what comes out isn't a butterfly. It's a kind of a withered bug. Its wings are shriveled and it kind of hobbles around. It's really sad. Now, he didn't know that in nature, the way this works is, when a butterfly comes out of a chrysalis, it stops about halfway and it squeezes into a little gap. And that forces blood into the wings so it can become a butterfly. You see, what this man had done with his kindness had tried to help out and remove the struggle. But it's the very struggle that makes the thing what it is. And without the struggle, you can't reach your full potential. You'll never grow wings, and you'll never fly.
Bob's Breakfast.
Stop the show. We've got a medical emergency on our hands. You probably know that the traffic has been bad on the A1M. There's been accidents northbound between 5 and 6. This has caused problems southbound. Gary's on the phone. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning.
You've had an interesting morning.
My wife's pregnant. She actually went into labour during the night.
Yeah.
Well, we've been stuck on the A1. We've been diverted round through network, which is at a complete standstill. So we're stuck there at the moment.
Can you put your Mrs. Tracey on the phone for us?
Hello?
Tracy, how are you hanging in there?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. Now, are the emergency services aware of your problem?
No, we managed to flag down a police car.
Yeah.
And they said if we needed to, we'll just have to call an ambulance. There's nothing they can do.
Right.
But that's not really going to help when the traffic's at a standstill.
Okay. Is this your first baby?
No, fifth.
Fifth. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got quite a lot of experience in this area. So based on your experience, how close do you think you are to giving birth?
Well, hopefully not too far away, but not too quick. That's going to happen in the car.
Yes. All right. Can I check back in with you in a few minutes' time?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Whatever you do, don't push.
All right.
All right then. Okay. Talk to you soon, Gary and Tracy. Okay. Goodness me.
Thank you.
Bob's Breakfast.
Let's get the latest news now with Chris Hubbard.
Huge jellyfish are swarming off the British coast.
Don't you have to get someone to pee on you?
Yes, you do. I think that's the idea, isn't it?
I don't know. But I just think, hasn't your day already gone badly enough? David, you might be able to help.
Reference to the lady and gentleman who are expecting a baby in network. If they drive through all the lanes are empty, so I'll be able to zigzag through to Stevenage. they can come into the back of Datchworth.
Yes.
And then go through the lanes. If they've got a sat nav on the phone, they'll be able to link that in.
Yes.
And get to Stevenage. It'll probably only take them about 20 minutes.
All right, thank you very much. Cheers.
All right, cheers, thanks.
All
bye.
right, thank you. If you've any other advice or you know what to do here, or if you can give Gary any advice on how to be a midwife. 01438 422 106.
106 Bob FM.
That's an amazing story, that Welsh bloke that chopped his hand off doing DIY. So this morning, what's your DIY disaster story? When has it gone horribly wrong? If you got a good story, you can win something cool from My Tool Shed. Yes, it's a DAB radio, but it's from DeWalt, the makers of the power tools that cut your hand off the quickest. Yes, actually, I don't know if it was a DeWalt power tool that cut that bloke's hand off, but it would have done a nice job of it. The DeWalt DAB radio could be yours if you tell me your DIY disaster story. Gary, how far do you reckon you are from the Lister right now?
Well, we've just called an ambulance, so...
You have actually called an ambulance now?
Mum's on the phone to the ambulance because Mum's sat in the back.
Oh, your mum's in the back of the car as well?
Yeah.
Well, at least it's not just you and Gary, because if Gary falls to pieces, maybe your mother can stay together. Can we cross back to you in a little bit and see how things are going?
You can.
Okay, it's Gary, Tracey, and her mum, somewhere in Nebworth.
Oh, my goodness.
Not far from here. It's a drama that's unfolding. It's gripping the home counties on Bob FM. Perception is reality. I've got a new car. I want to look after it. So I sent off and I bought these mats, these over mats. They're like a rubbery vinyl thing, and they stink. You know that plasticky, rubbery smell of new, rubber mats. I showed my mother the car. I said, here, sit in it. And it's got leather seats. And I don't think she'd been in a car with leather upholstery before. And she sat down and she went, ooh, smell that leather. Mark's on the phone. You think you can help?
Hey, Graham, if they're near you at Nebworth, why don't they shoot through Nebworth House, Junction 7, where the motorway's open, and then straight down the A1 to Lister?
Oh, cut through Nebworth House. I get you. You go in the back entrance of Nebworth House.
Yeah.
Go across the grounds of the house and then come out at the junction on the roundabout.
At the Novotel.
Brilliant, Mark. Thank you so much.
Okay, speak to you soon, Graham.
Cheers.
106 Bob FM.
How come the normal rules of business don't apply to Britain's train operators? I found out that not only do the rules of business not apply, the rules of physics don't apply either. So I was off on Monday because I went to a radio conference in London. For the first time in my life, I'm a commuter. That's because this thing happened in London between 8:30 and 5:30. I've never done this. I've never commuted to a major city for work. I've always driven to work, or when I was an air conditioning engineer, I was in a work van. When I worked at a construction site, a bus took me to work. I've never been a commuter. And what an experience it was. I caught the 7:51 Sardine Express to King's Cross from Hitchin. And I paid around twice as much as I normally pay for a return to London because it's peak. This is where the rules of business don't apply. Usually customers who pay the most get more. So there I was, squashed in with hundreds of other miserable people going to jobs that they hate, and standing up in the doorway, squashed next to a fat bloke and a skinny bloke, and I'm squashed so close to him I reckon I could pretty well tell you which side he dressed. I'm not happy. There's a fold-up bicycle on my shin. We're all squashed in this thing. And then I see a sign, one of those ticker tape things on the train, that says, Great Northern Trains, follow us on Twitter. Well, I did better than that. I tweeted them. So my first tweet went, I'm on Hitchin to King's Cross. How come I pay twice as much for a peak ticket but don't get a seat? Now, I wasn't expecting a reply, but I got a reply from @GN Rail UK. The reply went like this. Peak services are exceptional busy, Graham. Are you able to get an earlier train to maximise your chance of getting a seat? Tina. Well, that made me even more angry, so I tweeted back to Tina. I said, it's not my fault you don't put on long enough trains. How dare you blame me? I paid for a seat. You failed to provide one. Now, I didn't hear from Tina after that. But what kind of response is that? Are you able to get an earlier train? Not now! I'm on this one! Or did I miss something? Was Tina suggesting that one of the platforms at Hitchin railway station is actually a portal into another dimension where I can travel backwards in time? Wouldn't have done me much good. The train before the 7:51 was the 7:31, and that was cancelled.
This is Bob.
Volkswagen have done nothing wrong. They're just playing the game. Look at the goal. It's about goals here.
Yeah.
The goal of Volkswagen is to sell cars. To sell cars, they have to pass this emissions test. Fine. They designed a car that can pass the emissions test. End of the story.
Yes.
Clearly, the test needs to be more rigorous.
This is Bob.
We've been honouring heroes this morning. Tyler and Liam Sellen, who at the time were 15 and 13, chased a killer down the street after a brutal attack. A judge praised them a couple of days ago, and on the phone now is Tyler Sellen. Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning.
Now, this all happened about a year ago.
Yeah.
This is in Bishop Stortford. Can you take me through what happened?
Well, our road is a cut through from town to other estates.
Yeah.
So we thought it was kids smashing cars.
So you're in your house and you hear a commotion.
Yeah, we thought it was kids smashing cars. We had a smash.
Yeah.
So we looked outside, and our neighbour who lives opposite the house was shouting, "He's going to kill her! He's going to kill her!"
Mm-hmm.
So I went down and had a look through the bottom window, and the bottom window was smashed, and I saw a man walking upstairs, and then we looked at the top window, and then all we saw was a man throwing down punches towards who we thought was Sally Campion.
Which was his girlfriend?
Yeah, which was Sally Campion.
So you actually saw that going on through the window?
Yeah, we saw him murdering her.
It was a brutal attack, claw hammer, and just 41 separate injuries, they said.
Yeah.
So you saw some of that going on. So what happened next?
There's a bit around the back of the house where he could escape from, because there's a car park that leads onto the back of the house.
Yeah.
So I went round the back to make sure it didn't go to the back that way.
Now, is this in the daytime or the night time?
This was around 10 o'clock at night.
10 o'clock at night. Okay, so you hear the commotion and then you see what's going on. Now, who's in your house at that time?
It was me, my mum, and my brother.
Just the three of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
so then you belt out the house and go round the back of his house?
It was around the back of Sally's house. Yeah.
Right, I see. And what were you thinking at that time? What was your plan?
My plan was just to make sure he didn't get away, because at that moment I just thought justice had to be served. He was attacking somebody and he had the right to serve time for it.
Wow. You weren't worried about your own personal safety, because he's clearly a violent man?
No, at that moment I wasn't really worried. To be honest, the adrenaline kicked in.
Yeah.
And also there's so many neighbours about. If anything did happen to me, it wouldn't be quite serious straight away, because there'd be so many people that come over to help straight away anyway.
There's a good community spirit in that area, is there?
Yeah, everyone on this road is like a massive family.
Okay, so then you get round the back. What happens next?
Then I heard my mum shouting,
Yeah.
and that's because the killer had walked out the front door
Yeah.
with no expression in his face. So I came back round the corner to see what was going on, and then that's when I noticed he was only a metre away from me, and all the neighbours were shouting, "That's the guy, go get him."
Now, did he have the claw hammer in his hand at the time?
No, he didn't have a
So he was
claw hammer in his
unarmed?
hand, but at that moment I didn't know if he did or didn't.
Right. So then what happened?
I was looking at him, and he was looking at me, and he was walking slowly until I went to grab him, and then he decided to run away because he knew what was happening, and I was shouting at him, swearing at him. Then he decided to run away. When he ran away, that's when his flip-flops fell off.
Right.
And I chased him down to Newtown Road, but before I got to Newtown Road, I quickly went to the local pub to get some help from a few paramedics that I know were in there.
Who were in the pub that you knew were going to be in there?
Yeah.
Well, now, you're 16 now, you're 15 at the time, your younger brother's only 13. Are you big fellas, like? Can you handle yourself?
Yeah, we were actually they're big for our age.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you normally like a rumble? Do you like getting stuck in physically like this?
Yeah, I actually do. Me and my brother love to play rugby. We just love rugby, so if we get a chance to go tackle someone, we love it.
He messed with the wrong neighbourhood here, didn't he?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so you get to the pub, and then what happens? Where's he now? Is he giving it toes down the street minus his flip-flops?
Yeah, he's running down the street without his flip-flops, and my brother's gone after him at that point.
Your brother, who's 13, is now chasing this guy. Did you know then at the time that he was a killer?
Well, I thought he was a killer at that point because people were saying he's killing her. So immediately in my mind, he's murdered somebody.
Yeah.
And but then when I found out, when I saw my brother running down the street, that's when I went after my brother to make sure he's okay.
Well, you're his big brother. That's your duty. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you get down to, and then what happened? You corner him down the street, or what?
My brother got down to the bottom of the road, but then because Matthew was too fast for my brother,
Matthew is the killer. Matthew Keogh. Yeah.
Yeah, Matthew had already gone over the bridge. So my brother found a police vehicle that he flagged down straight away.
He flagged down the cops.
Yeah, he flagged down the police vehicle before he lost sight of Matthew.
Yeah.
And he told them the description of Matthew and where he'd gone to, and that's when they went to the train station and caught him straight away. And
they caught him, and he's now serving life imprisonment with a minimum of 22 years.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were in court, what, day before yesterday?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
And the judge said some nice things about you two, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, actually. It was quite something. It was really nice, actually. And it was a bit nervous as well. We were sitting in the middle of the courtroom in front of the judges and the High Court Sheriff.
Yeah, this is in St Albans.
Quite something.
Yeah, and so that's got to make you feel pretty special.
Yeah, it was. And especially since we got invited down to the judge's dining room afterwards.
Did you? Good for him. He gave you some money as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
You awarded, was it £300?
£350 each.
Each, just for being heroes?
Yeah.
Well, Tyler Sellen, I know your brother's at school at the moment. I wanted to talk to him as well. You're 16 now. You were 15 at the time. He was 13. You are solid gold heroes, no doubt about it. In fact, we have a thing called Bob's Best. I'm going to put you down as Bob's Best heroes. You really are. I just, I wish there was more kids around like you. You're an example to us all. You shame us all by being so great. Hey, is your mum there?
Thank you. Yeah.
Put your mum on the phone.
Mum.
Fantastic.
Hello.
Hey, is that Susan?
Yes, hello.
Susan, we've just heard the story there from Tyler. Amazing. You must be so proud of these boys.
Oh, overwhelmed. Yeah, and I'm very, very proud of both of them.
Well, we're very proud of them. I'm very proud of you as well. You've done a really good job raising these two kids.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you for allowing them to be on Bob FM this morning.
No, that's fine.
We're naming them as Bob's Best Heroes.
Oh, excellent.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
And please stay in touch.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
Wow, stories of heroes this morning.
This is Bob.
You can get your hands on David Beckham's old Range Rover Sport. Bit of a snip, because he's expected to have spent around £100,000 on this. Now it's going up for auction and thought to go for about £25,000.
And if you do buy it, just a warning, don't suddenly think, hey, look, Victoria Beckham's still in here. That's the gear stick. Gary, where are you right now?
Yeah, we're still at Oakfields Road, just waiting for the ambulance now.
Okay, so if someone around Nebworth is hearing ambulance sirens and seeing blue lights in your mirror, please do whatever you can. I know the traffic is just gridlocked because of that problem on the A1M, but just get up onto the verge or the curb, or just let them get through, because they've got to get to them. So how is Tracey?
Not great, but she's doing okay.
Can we talk to Tracey, Gary?
At the moment, no. She's having contractions again.
All right, hang on in there, Gary.
Thank you.
The most stress your kids have ever caused you. Diana?
My son Glenn, when he was 4, he burnt my house down.
Hang on, wait, he burnt the house down? How did he do that?
He lit a little bit of paper under his brother's bed, and he expected his brother to go to bed and find his bed gone.
Yes.
But he ended up burning the whole house down, and we lost everything. and we lived off car boot sales for ages and ages and ages.
Where did you live?
Me and my husband at the time slept around his mum's on the settee.
Oh, dear.
I was cooking sausages, and my daughter's boyfriend said, "You're burning the sausages," and I thought, "No, I'm not." And then your house is on fire, so we got out quick, and it was just everything.
Well, I'm glad everybody was safe.
Damage.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Do you ever let him forget it now? How old is he now?
He's 28 now. He lives in New Zealand.
Oh.
He remembers it.
Oh, he remembers it when he burnt the house down.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hey, thank you very much, Diana.
Bob.
Michael Button has just tweeted with a photograph of the ambulance on its way to you. So hang on in there, Tracy and Gary. That looks like good news. Michael says, just seen the ambulance by the Vauxhall dealership. They're en route. So good luck on that one. 01438 422 106. Good morning. Who's this?
Oh, good morning. My name's Kevin. I've just driven in from Stevenage right away through Nebworth and that way up to Welwyn Garden City.
Yeah.
And just let you know that it's to add injury to the wound. At the clock roundabout, there's an articulated lorry that is actually just broken down on the roundabout itself, which is now blocking the traffic. It can't go anywhere.
Okay. Hey, thank you very much, Kev.
Okay.
Cheers.
That's right.
Let's
Okay,
hope
bye now, bye.
that doesn't stop the ambulance getting through to Gary and Tracy.
It will.
All right. Thanks for the update, Kev. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Bye now, bye.
We'll go live to Gary and Tracy in a bit on Bob FM.
Bob's Breakfast.
It's an odd thing, isn't it? The whole Christmas shopping phenomenon.
Oh, I hate it.
The thing is, you often get stuff you don't want.
Mm.
You have to pretend you like it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like socks.
Every year.
But we never want them. Women always buy men's socks. We never want socks, ladies. We don't. The message we get when you give us the gift of socks is, you didn't even try. Do you actually think we want socks? How would you like it if all we got for you was a pair of tights? I mean, really, that's the same.
They'd be hell.
That's what we're doing. There'd be hell to pay.
Yeah.
Do you know who does want socks?
Who's that?
The homeless. When they ask for the number one gift item that homeless shelters ask for, they want socks, but it's hardly ever what gets donated. Homeless shelters are inundated with gloves and hats and scarves, but not socks. And socks have all kinds of health benefits, you know, wet feet and all the rest of it. The homeless want socks. So, I mean, one of the great paradoxes of the festive season is that we lap up Christmas messages of goodwill and the true meaning of Christmas fed to us by Dickens and Schultz and Dr. Seuss, you know, Scrooge, Snoopy, the Grinch. They're busy reminding us what Christmas should be all about. And we lap it up. But we're so busy spending money, we don't have to buy people we don't like things that they don't want, that we don't have time to do anything to make a difference. Really, if you're thinking about giving a gift this year and you're thinking about giving the gift of socks, how about donating some socks to a homeless shelter or a homeless charity? That would be a way better idea, wouldn't it?
Great idea.
And there are actual charities that specialise it. One of them's called Socks and Chocks.
Really?
Another one's called Bombas. Another one's called The Joy of Socks, which I kind of like the name
genius,
of.
yeah.
No, really, that would be a proper Christmas stocking. Where are you, Connie?
So I'm waiting for a bus at the moment. Hertford Tees.
We've been asking people to commit random acts of kindness.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you committed one recently?
Not recently, no.
Is there anyone else at the bus stop?
Yes. Another lady that catches the bus.
Can you quickly put her on?
Hold on.
All right.
You're talking to Graham.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. Oh, she seems keen.
Hi, Graham.
What's your name?
Harriet.
Harriet. Where are you catching the bus to?
Hertford Town, so I can get the train.
Okay. And how much is your bus fare going to be?
It's going to be £1.50.
Okay. Can you put Connie back on the phone?
Sure.
Okay.
Hello?
Connie?
Yeah.
How about you pay for Harriet's bus fare? It's £1.50.
Yeah, it's all right then.
Oh, you'll do that? Okay, when you get on the bus, I want you to say to Harriet, this trip's on me.
Okay, will do.
All right, that's good.
All right, Harry, I'm paying your bus fare. Thank you very much.
Well, look at that. It's a random act of all right. Can we check?
Coming now. It's coming now.
Oh, the bus is coming now. How far away is it? Is it close?
It's just coming to the bus stop now.
Is it coming? Are you about to get onto the bus?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Let's hear you actually commit this random act of kindness and pay for Harriet's ticket as well. Let's hear that.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Hold on.
Okay. So the
Morning. Can I pay for Harriet's bus fare, please? Bob FM, this is the bus driver.
Okay, right, yeah. Right, so you're okay. You've paid Harriet's fare now?
Yeah.
You're all set?
Yes, we're off now.
Look at that! It's another random act of kindness on Bob FM. Just had this via Facebook from Tracey's mum. Just want to thank everyone for all their help and advice. We are now all aboard an ambulance heading for Lister Hospital. Tracey, doing well considering. Good news. Keep you posted on Bob FM. If you were listening on Friday, you would have heard Connie call up. She called from the bus stop, and I said to her, find a stranger at the bus stop and pay their bus fare. And she found Harriet. Yeah. And she paid Harriet's bus fare, and we heard them get on the bus. Mm-hmm. And it was nice. It was a real random act of kindness. Yeah. But turns out things went horribly wrong. Connie's back on the phone. So tell us what happened after the bus set off.
As the bus went out of the village, there'd been an accident, and so we was at a standstill. So half of us thought, oh, well, perhaps the driver will let us off and we'll start walking.
Yeah.
By the time I got down to the roundabout, the bus passed us.
No! They didn't pick you up!
You did a random act of kindness by paying a stranger's bus fare on that very bus trip. You got off the bus because you thought it'd be quicker and the bus driver drove right past you!
He couldn't stop. He just couldn't stop.
I'm sorry, but he could.
Well, that was all right. That was my fault, because we should have stayed on.
Well, no, it was his fault.
He should have picked you back up.
That was a random act of unkindness.
Well,
no. I am so disappointed. Because kindness is supposed to be contagious. Karma is supposed to kick in and help here. Goodness me, there's been a glitch in the Matrix.
Turn your knob to Bob.
I nearly recommended that my in-laws watch soft porn. There was a TV show on BBC One, 9 o'clock, called Dr. Foster. Now, it was shot in Hitchin. Julie and I, we live in Hitchin. Now, Julie's parents live in New Zealand, and they've never been to Hitchin. We've been telling them all about it and how we like it. And then I said to Julie, well, hey, there's this TV show on last night. I haven't seen it, but apparently shot in Hitchin. They get a lot of British TV in New Zealand. We should tell your parents to look out for this show, Dr. Foster, and we can say, hey, look, that's where we live. That's what it looks like. So, just to have a look at it, I go on the BBC iPlayer. Hooly dooly. Did you see the opening scene? Now, it didn't help that when I went onto the iPlayer, for some reason, the audio description there's a switch, audio description. It must be if your site's not so good. They have a creepy voice describe what's going on. So this is the very opening scene.
Bearded, good-looking Simon helps Gemma remove her top.
Oh!
She throws the garment across the bedroom while he straddles her in his underwear and unbuttons his shirt.
Okay! Goodness me!
Now, both naked,
all right.
They melt into a joyful...
Okay, you get the idea. So if they do mention that they've watched a great show called Dr. Foster, I'm not going to tell them where it's shot.
Follow us on Twitter at Bob FM UK.
There's a surge in facial hair transplants.
What?
The procedure's performed under local anaesthetic.
Now, just wait, because I'm now uncomfortable. The hair on your head is very different to the hair that grows in other regions. Okay?
Yes.
When people grow beards, the type of hair that grows in the beard hair
yes,
is not the type of hair that grows from your head. Okay. So if you were to have a hair transplant, they have to get the hair from somewhere. And clearly the hair on your head would not be beard hair. Where are they taking it from? I'm scared to ask.
It's described as being taken from an area where hair is plentiful. And then transplanted onto the face.
The only reason I can think you would have this done was if there was a relative that you didn't like kissing you. Revenge stories this morning. What's yours, Gary?
Well, I once had a revenge on my wife who was constantly moaning at me for playing cricket.
Right.
I used to play cricket on a Saturday and a Sunday before we got married.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as soon as we got married, she wanted me to stop.
Right.
But I wasn't going to have any of that.
Okay.
And she constantly moaned, and one day that she got to me so bad on a Saturday, I walked out of my front door, and there was a load of Jehovah's Witnesses on the estate.
Yeah.
And I gathered 6 of them up and told them that my wife always fancied being a Jehovah's Witness. And I ushered them into the house, closed the door, ran for the car, and disappeared. And they were in the house for 2 hours. She wasn't happy. And while I was actually playing cricket, she came to the cricket ground, steaming. I saw the blue car coming. It was like the Only Fools and Horses sketch. And I looked, and I was batting, and I went to the bowler. Don't get me out, please. Just don't get me out.
Things have got so bad with plastic bags in supermarkets now, after they brought that 5p a bag charge in, that one supermarket is now tagging its baskets because people are walking off with them.
Of course they are. How can you have a system where it's 5p for a plastic bag, but it's only £1 for a trolley? Push the trolley home.
I've not thought of that.
The amount of people that must be pushing trolleys home. Oh, it's a ridiculous thing, this. And it's all to kill the planet. That's what the whole idea is. It is no secret that those plastic bags are harmful. You know, sea turtles can choke on them. That's just one of the things they do. The supermarket should give you a biodegradable bag, or at least the choice. There is no incentive. Now that the supermarkets, they only make 4p off the bag, by the way, because the government takes a penny in VAT. VAT at 20% comes out. The government gets a penny off every one of these plastic bags. So now that the supermarkets can make 4p per plastic bag, there is no incentive for them to come up with a biodegradable bag instead. So they're going to find the most toxic bag they can find to justify you having to pay the 5p, because they're leveraging your guilt and telling you that it's you that's killing the sea turtles, when in fact it's the supermarkets, because they're not providing you with the bag. The problem is, most of those supermarket plastic bags were recycled. That's what we used to line our bin with.
Yes.
Now, we have to go out. If Julie takes the hippie bag to the supermarket, the canvas thing, then she comes home and there's no plastic bags. We have to then buy more plastic bags to use for bin liners. So we're buying more plastic bags now, and still there's no degradable one in sight, and there won't be as long as there's money in it for the supermarkets and the politicians. Stories of revenge. What's yours, Julie?
When I worked for another company, one of the girls there did not get on with the manager.
Right.
So when he went on holiday, she went into his office and had a wee on his chair.
No!
Which over the 2 weeks he was on holiday dried out, obviously, as it would. And when he came back into work and went into his office, he said, "What's this stain on my chair?" But he was sitting on the chair. He kept looking up at the ceiling thinking there'd been a leak. But it didn't stop him actually sitting on the chair. And everyone was walking around going, "We know what it is."
Yeah, oh, we do. Yes, we know.
More than 100 well-known names have called for the UK to take in more refugees.
Thanks a lot, Chris. So who is calling for Britain to do more now? Movie stars?
Movie stars Keira Knightley, Jude Law, Benedict Cumberbatch, amongst the others.
This is weird. They're calling for Britain to do more. Maybe we should be doing more. But why aren't more people saying that the Gulf states need to do more? Closer neighbours than Britain, closer culturally, and usually the same religion as the people that are fleeing from the likes of Syria. So far, I just want to give you some facts and then we'll leave it alone. You make your own mind up. So far, only Jordan and Lebanon have taken migrants. They're the only two Gulf states, and they're not very rich. Lebanon has taken so many migrants that a quarter of Lebanon's population is now migrants. But the richest, and I'm looking at you, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE, Qatar and Bahrain, the richest have taken none. They have a combined GDP of $2 trillion a year and a combined population smaller than Britain of only 55 million people. So they have the room and they have the resources. But why is nobody saying they need to do more? So, Chris, she's going to be in court today.
That's right, yeah. Eleanor Hawkins, 23-year-old, who was charged with indecent behaviour for posing naked on this sacred mountain over in Malaysia.
So they took their clothes off in the middle of nowhere,
That's
not
right.
in a built-up area, and they're saying she offended the mountain.
That's right. Yep.
Now, she offended the mountain so much she caused an earthquake. That's the prosecution's case here.
That is the case.
Is the mountain going to testify? I mean, because without that, how do you know whether because the mountain might have gone, you know what, she didn't look too bad. Why was Prince William making a direct television appeal to the people of China? It's got to be one of the most bizarre aspects of the state visit to Britain of the Chinese president. Prince William was invited to speak on Chinese telly about the issue of wildlife conservation. He's an odd choice as a spokesman for conservation. Do the Chinese know how the British treat our native wildlife? Right now, Britain is in the middle of a continuing badger cull. And the prince himself represents a family that shoots pheasants and hunts foxes with dogs for fun. Now, the problem he's addressing is real and serious. The annual consumption of traditional remedies made of tiger bone, bear gallbladder, rhinoceros horn, dried geckos and all kinds of other animal parts is of phenomenal proportions. They reckon that today at least 60% of China's billion-plus inhabitants use this type of medicine. You see, it all comes down to that phrase, traditional remedies. I mean, the Chinese who use these medicines believe that these animal parts contain magical healing properties. Now, the people who came up with these cures at the time didn't have the benefit of modern scientific discovery. These people thought the world was flat and didn't know where the sun went at night. Tradition is not science. Tradition is just a crazy belief, a belief that hasn't been questioned for hundreds of years. Now, the prince, when he was on TV in China, would have been asking up to 100 million television viewers to question and even go against their traditions, which is a great idea. But the fact that it was him and not a member of the scientific community that's speaking to them means that he was expecting them not to question one of our traditions, the British tradition of a hereditary monarchy. You see, we believe that a family of German descent are so superior to the rest of us that they were born to rule. We've elevated them to a position of the highest power in the land through no effort of their own. It's predetermined before they're born. There's no fixed term of office, and once they become the head of state, they remain in the role for the rest of their life. They're treated with the reverence of demigods. They live a life of extreme opulence at our expense. Our press fawn over them, and when it turns out that one of their babies does exactly the same thing that ordinary babies do, we're amazed, and it's front-page news. Our traditions are just as crazy as theirs and just as harmful, especially if you happen to be a badger, a pheasant or a fox. Are the Chinese going to take any notice of Prince William? I hope so, because his message is a really important one. But I think that message would be a lot more effective if it was delivered by a doctor. You see, a doctor could show the Chinese more effective ways to cure impotence and illness without killing a tiger, a bear, or a rhino and cutting its bits off.
This is Bob.
I'm Graham Mack, and I hope you're enjoying the podcast. If you are, make sure you share it on Facebook and Twitter, and you can subscribe at iTunes. Good morning, Tracey's mum.
Good morning.
Linda. Bit of a morning for you.
Slightly, yes. Very much so.
Okay, so where are you right now?
Like, Tracy's now in the hospital, in the room where she's going to actually give birth. She's being examined now.
Mm-hmm.
Gary's with her. I've gone walkabout so I can talk to you on the phone.
Fantastic. And how is everybody bearing up?
When the ambulance first got there, Tracy's blood pressure was really high. But once she'd settled into the ambulance, by the time we got here to the hospital, it had gone down to normal.
You know, the whole of the home counties has been following this story.
We have picked up on a few bits and pieces. I've just turned my phone back on.
Yes.
And my phone just almost exploded. So we have picked up on bits and pieces. Obviously, Tracy's not quite with it at the minute.
Yes.
But she will be really surprised of all the interest.
Okay, well, we'll check in with you in a bit, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
All right, that'll be good.
Okay, then.
We'll keep
All
up
right,
to date.
thank you.
Bob FM.
World War III. That's what was trending on Twitter yesterday, Chris.
Slightly concerning.
Concerning, but I can't see it getting that out of hand.
Not World War III. People have a lot more sense than to let it escalate, don't they?
I don't know. The problem is the situation was already very complex.
Yeah.
And now it's even more complex. Turkey is part of NATO.
That's right, yeah.
NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organisation. Right.
I remember back to history GCSE.
There you go. But basically, it used to be NATO versus the Eastern Bloc, didn't it? That's what old-fashioned NATO was. Now that things have softened with the Eastern Bloc and it doesn't really exist in the same way, you have to ask how relevant NATO is these days. But anyway, Turkey part of NATO, so anti-Russian, and they still don't like Russia. Turkey also don't like Assad. Well, it seems that no one apart from Russia does like Assad. Assad is our enemy. He's, and so there's a civil war in Syria where rebels are trying to remove Assad. Now, along the way, ISIS get kicked out of Iraq during the Iraq War that was us, and we caused ISIS. They ended up teaming up with the rebels against Assad, but then falling out with the rebels and being a separate faction. Now, Turkey are trying to get rid of Assad. They don't seem that bothered about ISIS. They're in league with the rebels. In fact, they've got their own rebels. The Turkmen are there. And this is what's happened. Turkey know that the Russians are bombing the rebels, although they say they're bombing ISIS. But the two of them, ISIS and the rebels, are fighting Assad. So then the Russians invade Turkey's airspace. And it looks like, independently, that is what happened. The Russians are denying it, but it does look like that is what happened because other countries are saying, yeah, we got the radar thing. It looks like that's what you did. Now, the Russians, compared to the West, their military, and especially their air force, is pretty weak compared to, say, America. But to make up for that, the Russians are just quite provocative. We've been hearing stories for years of Russian bombers seen close to British airspace.
That's right. And people in the past have said, oh, they're just playing games.
Just playing games. And they've done it in America. They've done it up in Alaska. And they bring these bombers, propeller-driven bombers, by the way. They bring these bombers in, and they just like mixing it up. So it looks a lot like that's what they were up to, because they were warned by the Turks, look, you're getting a bit close, stay away, stay away. If you come inside, we'll shoot you down. You come inside, we'll shoot you down. But because the Russians play a dangerous game like that, they come inside and they got shot down.
Turkish don't mess around.
No, but they don't like the Russians anyway. So they shoot the plane down. I think the most disturbing thing, the BBC reports in it this morning, is that a Marine in a helicopter, Russian, went in to rescue the pilots of the downed plane. That was fired on and that Marine was killed. Now, I don't know whether the rebels did that or the Turkish or just the Turkmen inside Syria. But whoever, that's bad. That's got to contravene Geneva Convention, hasn't it? You can't, if someone's going in to rescue someone, you've got to let them rescue them, haven't you? You don't shoot the people who...
You would have thought so, wouldn't you?
I think that's worse than downing the plane, because if you've been warned and you go into the airspace, these are military people, these are not civilians, they're at war, you know the rules of engagement, if you invade their airspace, they're going to shoot you down, they've got to protect their borders. I don't think that's as big a deal as shooting the rescue marine in the helicopter. I think that's a way bigger deal. Putin says there'll be consequences.
Absolutely. He described it as a stab in the back.
Is it a stab in the back when he's been bombing the rebels that the Turks are fighting with against Assad? I don't know.
It's such a complicated situation. And the fact that there's so many different groups in Syria as well.
Yeah, there's allies bombing allies here, and it's the whole situation is a complete mess. But we don't want it to escalate between Turkey and Russia, because Turkey is NATO and we are NATO. And America is NATO. So we don't want that to escalate. Sam Kiley writing a piece in the on the Sky News website this morning. He basically sums it up. He says, Russia and Turkey are not friends, but they can't afford to be enemies.
This is Bob.
Still amazed by that face transplant story. What an amazing piece of cosmetic surgery that was. I'd like to know, what have you had done? What's your story? What do you got, Nancy?
It's like a good and a bad plastic surgery.
Okay, yeah.
Have I had changed? Well, I had an ear operation, but to do it, they had to put in behind my ear, so they took my ear off.
They took your ear. They took your ear off. Goodness me!
They had to cut all the way around it and then flap it forward. Anyway, they did the operation. The good thing is I've got perfect hearing.
Yes.
The bad thing is my glasses are wonky because they put it back on about half-inch lower.
Oh no! I would have thought that's kind of basic. Didn't they mark it? Oh dear! Well, you sound like you're getting on all right in life with the wonky ear.
Yeah, you can't see straight. I can hear, but I can't.
Right, so your hearing is perfect, but your eyesight is a problem now. All right, Nancy, thanks a lot.
Bob's Breakfast.
China's president is going to take part in a procession down the Mall to Buckingham Palace later as well. They're really going out for all of this ahead of a state banquet.
And he's staying at Buckingham Palace, which makes no sense. I'd feel more at home at my house.
You reckon?
Pretty much everything I own, made in China. You're at the Lister Hospital now, Linda.
Yes.
And what's the latest?
Baby's just being monitored now. Going to monitor her for 20 minutes, and then they're going to take it from there.
Okay, so she hasn't given birth yet. When you said
no, she hasn't. No.
But they're monitoring the condition of the baby. But everything looking good?
Everything's looking fine. Contractions are a lot stronger now.
Okay, and Gary, is he doing okay?
Yeah, I think we're all a bit jittery. I think we're all a bit in shock at the minute. But yeah,
the whole of the home counties is in shock.
I know that we've just found out. I've just got a call from home to say that. Oh, this is mad. ITV News is going around my house within the hour to interview two of the girls.
Yeah, they're coming here too. So, yeah, this is the big story of the morning. Yeah, this is... When have you been embarrassed by your parents? Sharon?
I was about 18.
Yeah.
I was sitting outside with my boyfriend in the car, just chatting outside our house.
Yeah.
And a few friends in the car as well.
Yeah.
And my dad comes out in his dressing gown and knocks on the window and goes, "What are you guys doing? You know, stop messing around, just come." And that was embarrassing enough. And I said, "Dad, I'm coming in a minute. I'm just finishing off a conversation." And as he walked away in the headlights, he lifted up his dressing gown to reveal his bare bottom.
No!
Backside.
No! Okay, you know pretty much everything there is to know about everything. That's why you bring us the news of what's happening around the world. Can you think of a time when a head of state from another country visited this country and was given a ride in a horse-drawn golden coach along a road that we'd closed specially for the purpose with our head of state?
I can't recall one.
But they've done that for this Chinese president.
They have. They're pulling out all the stops.
All the stops. Big banquet last night.
Big lavish banquet.
Even Jeremy Corbyn was invited. He scrubbed up well. I would have been worried if he was, because he could have said anything, couldn't he? He's like, human rights. Did he say human rights? No, he said, "Do you want more rice?" My name is Graham, and I'm a caffeineaholic. This morning, talking about addiction, what demon are you trying to keep in check? What are you hooked on? Gary?
Gambling.
You're a gambling addict?
I've been a gambler since I was 16.
Yeah.
Lucky enough, I'm in a job where it doesn't affect me that much money-wise in the house. I earn a certain amount of money,
Yeah.
and then once that money is paid into the bank, everything else is like, I call it fun money.
Right.
Which is not good because it's quite a lot of money some days.
So what are you betting on?
Right, okay. Unfortunately, every day in this country, you can bet on football
Yes.
all around the world.
Yeah.
So, let's say the big four bookmakers, I won't mention the too many names, but the big four bookmakers give you coupons. Now, when you go into bookmakers to put a bet on for your football,
Yeah.
You're surrounded by horse racing, greyhound racing,
Yeah.
the machines, and I don't go near the machines because I think they have actually probably killed people. Them machines are manslaughter machines.
And what do you mean? What do you mean they've killed people?
Well, I've seen people put hundreds of pounds on one spin, and they've walked out of there suicidal.
Right.
I've seen people do £2,000 in an afternoon. You can put your debit card in, and it cleans your debit card completely out.
Yeah.
Now I won't go near them. Never have done. And I've seen it. And so all I do is I'll go in. But while I'm putting my football bet on, there's a horse racing going on. Like yesterday, for argument's sake, I put my football bet on for the Sunday. Now I was betting on Israeli football, Austrian football, and stuff like that. And then there's a horse race on, so I'll put a bet on the horse racing. So before you know it, your £20 has turned into £40, which has turned into £80, because you're trying to chase your money back if you're losing.
So how much a week would you gamble?
I would say I have, in a week, if it's been, maybe, I would say easily £200-300.
Every week?
I would say so, yeah.
But you understand that you lose that money.
Oh, yeah.
This is the logic of gambling that I can't work. And what? So is it just the thrill of thinking it might come in? Where's the buzz?
I don't know, because sometimes if something comes in, say if I won £500,
Yeah.
then I would think, well, what's the point of do I really want to win anymore? I don't know where the buzz comes from. When I was younger, I don't think it was a buzz. I think it was because I was training greyhounds at the time. I was surrounded by gamblers, and we tried to win money.
In the game.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So now it's just a case of, do I need the money? I don't really know. At my age, I don't really think I actually need the money.
Gary, have you ever thought about getting help?
Oh no, it's not. It's never been a case of I've ever worried about it.
Right. So you just get on with it.
I just get on with it. Yeah. I mean, tonight I'll be doing the Dutch football.
Right. Okay.
And the worst thing is, I have an app on my phone from one of the bookmakers. I can actually, if I wanted to, I can't put money into my debit account. I can only have a certain amount in there because I can transfer my money from my debit to my account and blow all my money.
Goodness me.
Oh, it's crazy. Absolutely madness.
So you understand it's madness. You understand it's costing you £200 a week, but you can't stop.
Exactly.
All right, Gary. Thanks for sharing this morning.
You take care.
Thank you.
Good morning, Linda.
Good morning.
It was quite chaotic yesterday, wasn't it?
It was just, me and Tracey just sitting in there, just going through all the Facebook and everything on our phones and just absolutely astounded by it all.
You became world famous.
Yes, we realised that. It even went to America as well.
Oh, yeah, no, it's gone around the world, this one. This is a big story. But a happy ending.
A very happy ending. She's absolutely adorable.
Now, you're in that hospital right now.
I am,
Can you put Tracey on the phone?
Yep, hang on a minute.
Fantastic.
Hello.
Tracey, how are you?
Hello, it's Thor.
And she's a beautiful baby?
She is really lovely, yeah. She's just been laid most of the night in her cot, just laying, wondering what all the other babies are crying about, just laid there really chilled out, really.
Ah, are you looking at her right now, are you?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah,
And what weight?
She was 7'5".
Yeah.
So she's a really lovely colour. She's got quite a bit of hair, and she's just really chilled out and laid back. So hopefully she stays that way.
And what did you call her, Tracey?
Melody Sophia.
Melody.
Yeah, Melody.
You decide not to go with Bob?
Decided not to go with Bob.
Because that would have been my, that would have been my choice, the Bob baby,
Yeah.
Bob.
No, she's been Melody Sophia right from the offset. So
Okay.
We couldn't really change it, really.
Well, everyone who listens to Bob FM feels like they're part of the extended family now, because we all went through it with you. We all went through the stress.
You did.
Well, Tracey, thank you very much for letting us share your story.
So thank you for kind of making it a bit worldwide.
Well, on behalf of everybody who listens to Bob, thank you so much to Melody. And Melody, if you can't be Bob, maybe on behalf of the listeners to the radio station, Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle. Exactly.
Bob's your uncle. All right. Thank you very much, Tracey.
Thank you ever so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
When you've witnessed a crime in progress. Gary.
A few years ago, obviously, my father and his friends were owed some money by a fella in their local pub.
Yeah.
And the fella was never going to pay them the money, so what they decided to do was, when he was on holiday, they was going to rob his house.
What?
They was going to rob his house of the total value of what they was owed.
Right.
I would say he was probably owed about £20.
Right. Yeah.
So after a few beers, they went round to his house because they knew he was on holiday, and they couldn't get in.
Right.
So they had a brainwave. They looked at the letterbox and thought, I know what. Gary's got thin arms. We'll go and get him. This was about 11:30 at night. We'll wake him up out of bed and we'll drag him down there.
Right.
They came round, woke me up, dragged me down there. I said, what's going on? They said, we want you to put your arm in this letterbox.
And how old were you, Gary?
Well, about 10 years of age.
Right, so you got, go on. So they want you to put,
they want you to put your arm in the letterbox, put it round, flick a door and open the door so we can get in.
Right.
So after about 3 or 4 minutes of me trying to get my hand in the letterbox, they realised it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So this fellow, my dad's friend called Michael, just said, out the way, and then he took 3 or 4 large boots at the door to break the door down.
What?
As he broke the door down, they piled in. Well, they said that they went, right, we're only going to take the value of what we're owed.
Yeah.
Well, kidding you, the stuff that they took, it would be like, you'd get it at a car boot, and at the end of the day, and no one would have it and go near it. It was disgusting.
He had nothing worth pinching.
It was absolute rubbish. But they took it, never mind, and then they took it home, and I remember that being in the front room for years, this rubbish.
Right.
So anyway, a week later, the fellas walked into the pub. Some of Dad's sitting there with Mick and gone, well, we've got a bit of, got something back off of him. The fella came in, got a beer, sat down and just started talking about his holiday. So my dad went to the bar, Michael's gone to the bar and gone, he's not talking about being broken into, has he?
Ah.
So my dad said, give me the paper, sit down, I'll bring it into the conversation. Right, so when my dad opened the newspaper, he just brought it into the conversation. He said, do you know what? He said, there's another burglary gone on here, like that. To which the fella said, oh, I've got something to tell you. So they both bit perked up, and he went, while I was away, my next door neighbour got robbed.
No!
They were that dumb, they even got the wrong ass.
Bob's Breakfast.